Anna, we wait for you. Okay. So well, today prepare a lesson exclusively on standing on the dominant.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah, I checked a lot of examples. I checked it from different points. So we will define the concept once again for maximum clarity, and I might be slightly more theoretical today than normal, yeah, but just to make sure that the information is there, and then we try to do it again, okay? So let's see if this is published. I think it is. Okay. So I would like to wait for Anna, because otherwise yeah, she will struggle a bit. So we wait. Okay, so it's published. I can close this. I can close this as well. On the meantime, you can tell me how you're doing with the studies.
How did you read what I sent you?
Not yet, because I was spending most of the afternoon on this, but I will read it tomorrow without any doubt, Glorious, because I want everyone to kickstart on that analysis of pieces. So I might add a backup session for analysis, but I want to see exactly when, yeah? So, but I will check it tomorrow, yeah?
Everything can sort of fit in one of the themes phrases we've learned. Like, it's not just for the, I don't even know how practical, like how it applies. If it's for the beginning, the theme, and then the development will be written, but no, almost everything seems to fit in one of those definitions.
Yes, and particularly the second movement and the third movement. The second movements most particularly, yeah? Because now you're studying the conventional themes, the most common of all the themes, and these conventional themes without the sophistication of development happen purely in the trios, in the minuets, and in the second movements in general. So when you analyze second movements, you are almost geared to be able to, as Giorgio said, to do everything that you can find in the second movement. You are not kind of completely geared to check a first movement, because obviously it's the sonata movement. It's more complicated, yeah.
The first movement, I see many extensions and expansions, and non-conventional, I guess you'd call them. But in the second and third, it's perfect. It's what we saw.
It's clean cut.
It's
perfect. Yeah, it's very easy. And the third movement, if it's a rondeau, maybe you can get slightly confused, but anyway, it's quite plain. Yeah, you just have a theme as the ones you studied, and then you have another one, and then you have the same one, and then you have another one. So, well, we can start. Let's see if Anna, I admit her. Yeah, I admitted her, I think. So, hello Anna, how are you?
Here I am, thank you for waiting. Sorry, class.
No worries. How are you? Well, today we're going to cover standing on the dominant, okay? So I organized the standing on the dominant, yeah? So we can conceptualize it, yeah, and mainly differentiate it from other closing functions, yeah, like the closing section, yeah, because it's not the same as standing on the dominant and a closing section. So I want to define exactly in what sense it's not the same, yeah, and it's not the same as the emphasis on the dominant, yeah, which is another concept as well, yeah. You can have an emphasis on the dominant and not necessarily have a standing on the dominant, yeah. Also, the standing on the dominant will be defined, the labeling of a standing on the dominant will be defined in relation to the position it's placed, yeah, within a structure. The standing on the dominant cannot be placed wherever, yeah, it has to be placed in particular places, yeah. So I will go on an exemplification, and as always, I like to do, I will try to make you write or to compose very quickly a standing on the dominant, yeah. So The main feature of the standing of on the dominant, yeah, is that it brings a progressing dynamic energy associated with the ending on the dominant if it's used as a post-cadential, yeah, element. Because it can be used as a post-cadential element, or it can be used for B. Right? B, the contrasting middle, B in an ABA, can be standing on the dominant, yeah? But it can also be a post-cadential function, right? So we have to see how we use it. As a post-cadential function, yeah, it has to happen after a half cadence, okay? And as a B, it can happen after a perfect authentic cadence, okay? So I will show you a couple of things. So a post-cadential standing on the dominant can be seen after any half cadence. After any half cadence. A post-cadential standing on the dominant can be seen after any half cadence, with the exception of the half cadence at the end of an antecedent in a period theme. Okay? Because and I want to clarify something on that point. Do you know exactly what a half cadence is? Because in a half cadence this is something I would like to define first of all, and I will define with this example that I built up here. Yeah, I will show you, share the screen. Yeah, and it's a little. The harmonic progression and the music syntaxis should be aligned to talk about a cadence. Yeah, it's not just the harmonic progression. Let me show you this example I prepared. Look at this. I don't know what you're seeing. You're seeing this, right? You're seeing here. It's my thing, right? So I will bring it here. That's it. So here you have what I want to say. The harmonic progression and the music syntaxis should be aligned to talk about a cadence, a half cadence. Yeah, in this case. So here I have an example of a half cadence, right? So we have second, which is a predominant chord, yeah, the same as in a perfect authentic cadence. We have a first on the first inversion, like in a perfect authentic cadence. We have the fifth of the fifth, which is an ornament, yeah. We could not have it and still have a perfect authentic cadence. This is very important because you might think you need it to have a no, you don't need it. You could have a second and a fifth and still have a perfect authentic cadence. The reason why you have a perfect authentic cadence here, right, is not just because of the harmonic progression. It's because it's aligned. Syntactically, this phrase finishes here, right? And the chord as well, yeah? And I will show you a counterexample now to see when this doesn't happen, yeah? So, I don't remember that's the reason why one should write the key signature in the example, you see? So yeah, so we are in the. Can you hear me?
Yes.
So, and then. Yeah, and then we have another idea. Sorry. For example, yeah. So, but this one we have first inversion. So, yeah. So it's clearly finishing there. Yeah. In spite of the fact that the fifth is succeeded by the first, because actually it's succeeded by the first. Yeah? The syntax of the melodic line indicates an ending on the fifth and a beginning in the first at the following bar. Therefore, it's a half cadence. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
See what happens here, now in a perfect authentic cadence, which I'm going to actually allow example to go on the next page. Right in here. As opposed to the above, in this example, the syntactic ending of the phrase coincides with the ending of the harmonic progression as well. Okay, the syntactic ending of the phrase coincides with the ending of the harmonic progression as well. Yeah, so the harmonic progression second, fifth, first, perfect authentic cadence coincides here. So that's why it's a perfect authentic cadence. Yeah, so as opposed to, I think the example is very clear. What do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah? Iris, Anna?
I have a question. Many questions. Sorry. So if we're beginning the part B, standing on the dominant, would we consider this dominant our new key, or is not modulatory?
Very good question. It's non-modulatory. It's non-modulatory. But it could be.
Okay, so it's just playing around the fifth, but not changing the key.
Exactly, because standing on the dominant is not what?
It's not a...
It's not a cadence.
Exacto.
Sorry, a standing of the dominant cannot, doesn't have a cadence. Yeah, it's not a harmonic. It doesn't have a harmonic progression. Yeah, so therefore it's not modulatory because it's not setting up any cadential confirmation of this fifth. You see?
Okay, so second question, sorry. So if we have this new section, let's say we are on part B and we're standing on the dominant and we're not modulating, would we still apply a basic idea or a continuation?
This is something I will cover in today. Don't worry. Yeah, because I will tell you, but keep that question in your minds. It's a very good question, Anna. Okay. I will give you all the different examples. Don't worry.
Okay. Thank you.
So, I will, yes.
Can I ask quick? He said it cannot be done, you might say it in a moment, but it cannot be done after an antecedent of a period. Can it be done after an antecedent of a hybrid theme?
This is as an antecedent, no. Because the antecedent of the period, you need to understand why not. The idea is that it finishes there. You need a weak cadence, remember? You need a weak cadence. When we study the period, yeah, or the antecedent, more than the period, the antecedent needs to set up a weak cadence. If you make too much emphasis on the half cadence, it's not that, right? I can see it in with more precision later as well, but I have cadence. Just 1 second. So don't confuse a half cadence with the end of presentation or antecedents. Yeah, a half cadence could very well be the end of a sentence. Yeah, I wanted to say this because we have the half cadence in our minds very strongly associated with something that happens in the middle of the theme. Some of you, maybe not all of you, but some of you, yeah. Whenever we think about a theme, we tend to finish on the perfect authentic cadence. In general, when we conceive the theme, yeah, it's the easiest, the most standard way to finish a theme, to finish on the perfect, even a sentence that could not finish in a half cadence. We think that it finishes in a half cadence. So I want to highlight that this conception is not. This is not true. I mean, you can very well finish a sentence in a half cadence. Yeah, and you can very usually finish something that you don't learn yet, but it's a compound sentence on a half cadence. Yeah, it's actually quite a good idea to finish on a half cadence. I will teach you later on why. But yeah, don't make sure that in your brain, yeah, it's not attached, yeah, strictly to the middle of the theme. It could be in the end, in the case of a sentence. Conceptually, there is a big difference between a standing on the dominant and a dominant prolongation. Conceptually, yeah? It's not the same to have a dominant prolongation to have a standing on the dominant. I mean, when you have a standing on the dominant, you have a dominant prolongation. But if you might have a dominant prolongation and maybe not a standing on the dominant. You might have something else, yeah? What is a dominant prolongation? It's a harmonic progression. and a standing on the dominant is a formal function. Yes? So the formal function, the standing on the dominant, requires a harmonic matrix that is a dominant prolongation or a prolonged dominant. You understand? We are not talking about the same matter when we say one thing and when we say the other. Okay? Okay. So now I think I can start with the types, and I want to do this as organized as possible. So let me see what I will clarify the versuses first, okay, that I prepared here. Closing section and standing on the dominant. Okay, if you have a half cadence, it is very similar to a closing section. The standing on the dominant is very similar. The main difference is that the standing on the dominant has to be supported by a prolongation of the dominant, and needs to happen after a half cadence. I don't want to ask a question that makes you feel offended, but why we need a half cadence to have a standing on the dominant then? Because we need to finish on the fifth. Yeah, otherwise we can prolong it. Yeah, because we right? It's obvious, but I think it worth the clarification. Yeah, you need a half cadence to have a standing on the dominant. The closing section needs to happen on a perfect authentic cadence. Why?
In the tonic.
Exactly, because you need to prolong the tonic. So I think that already clarifies the concept. Yeah, both are post-cadential functions in this particular case we are talking about, right? Because I am considering it a part of the phrasing question we are analyzing, if they are placed like this. So if it happens after a half cadence, right, and prolongs the half cadence, right, then it happens after a half cadence, therefore you have a standing on the dominant, and then you finish the piece. Okay? You finish the piece, no, you finish the theme. You can finish the piece or not, but you can finish the theme. Yeah? Perfect authentic cadence, right? And then you have something that is prolonged, you have a closing section. Okay? You could very well, I will give you an example I think that will clarify. Imagine that you're on an ABA. You follow me? ABA, right? So you finish A, okay? Finish A on a perfect authentic cadence. You might as well have a closing section, and then B can be a standing on the dominant. In B. Okay? So you can have a perfect authentic cadence, closing A, and then use B as a standing on the dominant.
But the one would be a post-cadential function, the other one will be independent.
Exactly. So standing on the dominant is attached to two different things. Okay? Now it's clear. It can have two completely different roles.
Would it be a phrase then?
It would be a phrase. Yes, it
But
would be a phrase.
how many? Does it have to be 4 bars if it's independent?
I will cover that. Don't worry. Yes. It has to be. It can be anything that you like. Normally, when it's on B, I will go on it organizedly. But when it happens on B, it's a new idea in comparison to A. It's a new idea that it introduces, a new basic idea. Yeah, that is repeated. So then you have 4. But you can do it longer. You can do new idea again. You can restate. Yeah, it will not be restated on a different. It can be restated on the dominant because otherwise you wouldn't have a standing on the dominant. Yeah, so it has to be identical. Yeah, but still you can apply fragmentation later on. So you can have 6 bars out of it. You can have basic idea, and fragmentation. I have told you, and take my words as I gave them, as I told them. I said it can be a new idea in relation to A, okay, but it might not be a new idea in relation to A prima. Yeah, it might anticipate something from A prima. Yeah, or not. Or not. Okay, I will go on all the different types. Now, dominant emphasis versus standing on the dominant. That's another versus that I wanted to clarify. Did you understand very well the closing section, Anna?
Yes, got it.
Don't fall behind. If you don't understand, you tell me. Okay? All of you.
One question before we follow, please. I think maybe we need to really, is there like a certain structure to this standing on the dominant, or all of these things are different structures?
No,
okay.
I will give you
this
all
is
the
where
structures. I will give you all the structures after the versus.
After this.
With the versus, we will go on structure and we will put them in practice. So yes, there are different structures. There are different structures for different cases. The last versus I want to clarify is the dominant emphasis versus the standing on the dominant. We shouldn't confuse this because it's not the same. I prepared this very silly example, but I think it worth doing it, So this very silly example, which actually if we go here we can listen to it. Is the 712, It's a chapter you haven't checked yet. 712. I will take off the WhatsApp. That's it. So it's 712. One more time. It's slightly confusing, isn't it?
Yes.
Well, in the above example, there is no standing on the dominant, but an emphasis on the dominant, the latter due to the tendency of the repeated theme to resolve on the first.
Wrong. Repeated theme to resolve to the first.
Okay, there is an obvious resolution. There is an obvious resolution, and we come from a perfect authentic cadence, and it's almost elide. It's almost, I haven't said it yet, but this can't elide with a perfect authentic cadence. And this is not elided completely, but it's kind of elided. It's too close. So this is a very important thing. We can come back to it. Okay? So now I will go on all the different structures and examples.
What should the emphasis of the dominant is?
The emphasis on the dominant. Basically,
literally what it says, just repeating the dominant.
You repeat the dominant, but resolve. You repeat it, you resolve. You repeat it, you resolve it. So, by means of resolving it, you're actually saying that you're not standing on it. In the standing of the dominant, you don't resolve it.
This is tonic prolongation. I understand this.
Yes.
Would the dominant prolongation have tonic within it?
We are going to see some examples. I think a dominant prolongation is a dominant prolongation, meaning there is no tonic.
But in the tonic prolongation, there is dominant.
Yes, but as a passing chord. But
in the dominant prolongation, could there be a tonic passing chord?
No, because the dominant, if you are standing on the dominant, you could have a dominant of the dominant, but the dominant should be the axis point. We can see the examples. Let me check. I'm not quite sure, but I don't think you should have it quite often. But let me check. I prepare a lot of examples, so we can double check that. So uses. I will go to the easiest first. We'll start with this one. A post-cadential of B. A post-cadential of B. This use facilitates the clearing of the stage, as they say, which helps to create anticipation for the return of a main theme, A, in a small ternary, for example. Actually, no. I will use it first as a B. So then I add the post-cadential, then I go to. So I will start here as a contrasting middle, which is better. As a contrasting middle. When used for B, they normally consist of a two-measure new basic idea. Right? So we have it here, look. The same. Yeah, so one more time. There you have a passing first. Yeah? But it's clearly...
In second version, so it's not even that strong.
It's passing, it's not resolving on the air. Yeah? So that's the difference. The syntaxis, as we mentioned in the cadence, is not aligning there. While in the other example, the syntaxis aligns there. Yeah? If we check this other example. You see? Yeah? Dum, dum, bing, bum, bing. Yeah, so it's there. While in here, it's perfectly in the middle of the way. Yeah? Look, let me see if I can play. With the pedal strictly on the bass.
That was an inversion.
Exactly, it's inverted. Exactly. It's inverted because of the pedal. Yeah. So here we have a technique, yeah, which is just the new basic idea with the new basic idea and then a prima, yeah, with a little kind of lead in, yeah. So this is used in a contrasting way. So Anna, take down notes, option number 1, yeah. So new basic idea, if we check it a bit more deeply, there is a little, yeah, there is a little change. Yeah, but for the sake of the repetition, Georgios, why is this identical? Why do we consider this kind of identical?
Well, it's the same harmonic.
Exactly.
It's
kind of the same, almost the same harmonic out frame. So it's a little change.
Who is the composer of this?
This is Mozart. Yeah, it's Mozart.
The chromatic are very funny.
Yes, and Haydn doesn't use it, and it's definitely not Beethoven.
Yeah.
Pam pam pa pra ri ra ran da dan dan dan. That's the missing part. Yeah. So, well, here you have two versions of the same thing. Yeah. Okay. So look at this graphic I prepared for you here. Yeah. So option 1, B as a standing on the dominant new idea with a repeated 2 measures, so 4 measures. Yeah. And here standing on the dominant 2 measures. Yeah, and then fragmentation. Yeah. Let me see if I actually brought the example. I think I should have brought it. Let me see. If I didn't, then I will complete it for the article. Yeah, I will write it down and I will try to complete it for the article. Yeah, I think I missed that example. Yeah, so I will then complete it for the article. So yeah, you could have a standing on the dominant with a fragmentation later to make it larger. Let me show you the example. Give me 1 second. Let's see. You prepare and then still you miss something. I find you one here. So. Yeah. So you have basic idea, repetition, and then fragmentation, a continuation. It's a very
But Juan, sorry,
yes.
that's the standing on the dominant, or that's the other thing?
No. This is a B. Yeah, but I didn't use a standing on the dominant. Yeah.
But because it has a one, no?
No. Yes, I was giving you. I just
It's not a
focus
dominant
on.
emphasis.
I focus on basic idea that is. I just misfocus the. Syntactically, that's the example that I wanted to give you, but not harmonically.
But
I see.
wait, is it not? No.
No, it's not.
But it could be a dominant emphasis, right?
Yes, it could be a dominant emphasis.
Because it has 5-1, 5-1, 5-1.
Yeah, and
Repeating.
it still helps with the B, no, to measure that then has a continuation. But let me just find you the rights. I had it prepared and then I missed to include it in the. Oh. Okay, otherwise I just find you another one.
Juan, sorry, I have a question.
Yes.
So basically the general idea of the standing of the dominant is having a new basic idea plus a new basic idea repeated and then a fragmentation.
No, the standing on the dominant as a contrasting middle can be a new basic idea that is repeated, option number one, or a new basic idea that then is fragmented. I can give you an example myself because otherwise it will take forever. So. And then finally the chord. Yeah, so for example, one more time. We'll repeat. Yeah, you got it.
Yes.
That would be the
Thank
example.
you.
Yeah. So then the standing on the dominant can comprise, it can also comprise a series of, yes.
Will be the structure for both the B and the post-cadential?
As a post-cadential, it could be also used like this. Yes, of course. But it doesn't, normally as a post-cadential, it's simpler. But you can definitely, yes, you can definitely do a liquidation after the basic idea. No problem at all. Yeah. All the formats that I'm giving you are formats for standing on the dominant. You can use them anywhere you like, as a post-cadential or as a B. Yeah. In general, as a post-cadential, it's strange that you do a 6 bars, but you could. Actually, I'm going to give an example in which you do. So, then the standing on the dominant can comprise a series of varied statements. Yeah, like in this case. So let me see if I find the example, which is the 7, 10, 7. will play it for you. So it is. And then the leading, yeah? So the basic idea is dum, 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 dum. Yeah, and then yeah, and then the same. Yeah, so you could have three statements of the same thing that are varied as well. Okay, so the structure that I'm showing you here, the structures are standing on the dominant as a new idea that is repeated, a new idea that is repeated and then fragmented, and a new idea that is repeated 3 times as varied statements. Okay, and that was used as a contrasting middle. Okay. Okay, very good. Then, are you with me? Are you with me? Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Then, post-cadential of B. Post-cadential of B. Okay? Because B might as well not be a standing on the dominant only. Yeah? Can also be something else. Yeah, it can be a dominant emphasis, it can be other things. We will see what it can be. But it might not be, yeah, a standing on the dominant. Yeah? So in the case it's not a standing on the dominant, yeah, it can still contain a standing on the dominant. Yeah? I will give you the example. So this use facilitates the clearing of the stage, which helps to create anticipation for the return of the main theme A in a small ternary, for example. Yeah. So you go A B A. Yeah. Imagine you used a B that is a bit pompous, no? After a perfect authentication A, you still kind of want to create something more special. So A prima sounds fresher when it comes back. Yeah, let's say, for example, you kept a high density of sound in B and the same as in A, and then having A prima would be a bit monotonous. So you can place there standing on the dominant. Okay, so 2 devices are used to help recapitulation. Textural dissolution, yeah, so the melodic line slims down to a single voice, yeah, and motifs from the upcoming section used as new ideas. Georgios and Iris and Anna, remember I said it could be new idea backward, yeah, but it might not be a new idea forward. So I will show you the example. Okay, so let me find the example. So now I'll show you the example, which is this one, yeah? So we have a continuation, as you've done for B in other occasions, a sequence, okay? Then we have a cadential, and then we have a standing on the dominant. Okay, do you want to hear it again?
Yeah.
I can show you the full example here. Okay. So, why do you think he used it? No?
No.
No, why? Look, the density is quite high here, yeah? You have a dynamic density and also no density, yeah? Then the contrapunctual density here is quite high again, yeah? Then here he lightens it up, yeah? And here he lightens it more. So it's a density liquidation process. Okay, because you want A prima to sound fresh. So if you have all this, in Spanish we say jaleo, if you have all this jaleo and then more jaleo, then you have all this noise and then more noise, it's spoiled, yeah, A prima. So then he fixed it.
I'm confused because the bars, he stays for 3 bars of the dominant, but he also stays for 3 bars of the predominant.
Yes.
So why is the dominant prolonged? Why do we consider that to be a standing on the dominant and not before a standing on the predominant?
Because there is a cadence, it's a half cadence there.
Sure, why can't the half cadence be, why can't the dominant be 3 bars without being extended or just being 3 bars as natural? You understand?
Why can't the dominant be?
Why do we consider this to be a standing? Why do we consider this to be a post-cadential, not just part of the cadence? 3 bars of predominant, 3 bars of dominant.
I understand. Let me see. Because of the syntaxis.
5, 6, 7, 8 bars.
Because of the syntaxis, Yorios.
Yeah, 8 plus 2.
Yeah, and this is something we have to have in mind because it confuses me a lot as well. Yeah, the syntaxis and the harmony. Have them always married to each other when you analyze. Yeah, because this confusion is actually quite acceptable. Yeah, you see it harmonically, and it's a good question. Why? But syntactically, there is a syntaxis inflection point here. Yeah, yes. It's evidently a different idea. This is evidently finishing here, and this is evidently not finishing there. Yeah, because it started there.
Could we not consider it a lead in?
It's too long to be a lead in. It's too long to be a lead in. Plus, he's introducing new material approximately between 3 to 4 bars. No, it's periodic. So we have 3 functions. We have continuation, we have cadential, standing on the dominant, and it breaks up even. You see, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3.
Yes.
And it coincides with the syntaxis. Because look at bar 17. 17, 18, and 19 syntactically consistent. Finishing on 20, no? 20, 2, 1, 2, 3, it makes sense. Yeah, we have here a lead-in, that could be a lead-in, this. This is a lead-in. Taka, taka, piri, 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 This is kind of a leading,
Hmm.
if you want one. Yeah. And it makes sense because the leading is on the 7th of the second. Yeah, so that's a leading. And then we stay on here, half cadence.
Yeah.
We have something different for the half cadence. I think we all agree that this doesn't really look alike like this, for example. It can be similar to this. It's like I don't remember the term, Gisela knows it, enroque, we call it in Spanish. When what is at the beginning and then at the end, then you do like this, like in chess. I don't know how you say it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like the tour and the king.
Yeah. Yeah, so this is that. Yeah, it's this there and this, yeah. Permutation, I don't know how we could call it in English. But it's that at the end of the day. Trocado, we call it in Spanish. In Italian, there is a term for composition. It's called trocado. You know, when you have this.
Castling in English. Castling.
Castling. Well, so it's
Castling.
like castling here, and then this. Okay, clearer or not?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. The above is an ending example. Yeah, the above is an ending example. The above is an eliding example. That's what I was saying.
Elision is because the standing of the dominant starts with the arrival of the dominant.
Exactly. Now, the standing on the dominant may or may not elide with a half cadence, but it can never elide with a perfect authentic cadence.
But yeah.
Okay, obviously. Here you have standing on the dominant, half cadence, no? Can be eliding, like it is in here, in this, no? Or it might not be eliding as well. Yeah, with a half cadence, it might or it might not. Okay, but with a perfect authentic cadence, it should. Okay. Okay. Now there is another situation in which you might find a standing on the dominant, yeah, and it's at the end of something you haven't learned yet, which is a compound sentence. There are compound themes. I will very briefly explain them to you, okay? But don't worry if you don't understand them, because you shouldn't understand them yet. Yeah. So, Georgios, Anna, or Iris, the one. Let's see who raised the hand. Can you define what is a compound basic idea? Georgios.
It's a phrase function. 4 bars melodically. It is basic idea, contrastic idea, harmonically, it's tonic prolongation.
Good. It's tonic prolongation. Okay? So technically, okay, we could have compound basic idea, a repetition of compound basic idea as our compound presentation, and then continuation is very flexible because we could make a bigger fragmentation.
How be big?
No, that wouldn't be.
Compound basic idea and compound basic idea.
Yes.
8 bars presentation.
An 8-bar presentation would be a compound presentation.
It's a big presentation.
Yes. And then you could have a continuation, and the continuation, as by definition, yeah, you have devices to lengthen it, yeah. It can be sequential. For example, it would be very suitable to make it sequential here. It would have a cadential, a longer cadential, and you can easily make 8 bars there. Okay? So in that sense, you can end having a continuation that is 8 bars long. Okay? So at the end of a compound sentence, which is this structure that I'm not expecting you to understand very well with my explanation, but just to have an idea. Yeah? The standing on the dominant is quite frequently used at the end of a compound sentence and quite rarely at the end of a simple sentence, and it connects with something I told you at the beginning. When we conceive a sentence, in general, we conceive it as a perfect authentic cadence at the end. Doesn't necessarily have to have a perfect authentic cadence at the end, but somehow the common practice, it normally has it. Yeah, it normally has it. So therefore, but a compound sentence, yeah, is more detached. Yeah, it had already a big prolongation of the tonic with the compound basic ideas, so it had already a lot of tonic. Yeah, so we don't need again the tonic. We don't have this appetite for the tonic as much as we have on a simple sentence. Okay, would be a very informal explanation of that. It just happens in the common practice. Yeah, the idea behind using it at the end of a compound sentence is to reinforce the arrival of the dominants. Yeah, and it's in the end. So if we want to really make the statement that you actually finish with a half cadence, what's best than using a standing on the dominant? Yeah, it can use fragmentation and repetition, the standing on the dominant. Yeah, there is no cadence associated with standing on the dominant, there is no harmonic, and it can be structured as a series of repeated one bar units. This is just repeated one bar units. Yeah, there is no fragmentation here. Yeah, but it's just
4 times.
4 times. Yeah. 4 times, yeah, you have it, yeah, as a separate thing, yeah, and we're going to listen to the example. I did something very silly, which is that I didn't write down where I got examples from, sorry. So, yeah, but if it's a conventional theme, should be in chapter 6. Okay, so must be here. Exactly. So 611, we listen to his 611. Ready? We go. Okay, and as it's a very heavy theme, very long, with a big syntactic critical mass, yeah, we need something very powerful to stop the flow, yeah, and then this repetition definitely succeeds in stopping the melodic impulse, yeah. So I'm going to listen to it again. Okay. Okay.
It was a symphony.
Yes, the Symphony 83 that you should listen to because it's very beautiful. Yeah. So well, here you can listen a bit of Beethoven, no, in Haydn, actually. It sounds extremely Beethovenian, yeah. No surprise that he taught Beethoven. Yeah. Beethoven didn't invent anything. Beethoven just listened carefully to what Haydn did. and did it differently. Yeah, and Mozart the same. Actually, with Mozart it's even more evident, because Mozart, to the untrained ear, sounds almost the same as Haydn. Yeah, it's very hard to sometimes to differentiate a piece by Mozart and a piece by Haydn. To the trained ear, it's not, because there are certain things that are very characteristic. But yeah, to the medium, well-read person, no, and a music enthusiast, it's difficult. So, well, I will not make you write anything, yeah, today. I will use the lesson tomorrow for that, yeah, that we have in the morning. Also, so you read this first. I don't want to embarrass you, yeah, making you deploy these devices before understanding them properly. So bring them to bed, yeah, think about them, try to write them, yeah, spontaneously, and then tomorrow when I ask you to do it, you will have a bit more training. Yeah. You have questions?
I have one question, but it's not really. I was just going to ask if tomorrow we're going to see the exercises that we saw on Friday. I mean, so I send them corrected. What we saw on the last lesson of composition, the hybrid theme.
The hybrid theme.
Yes.
Yes. I think we will have to do it. We will have to do it. Yeah, because we will have to do it.
Okay.
Yeah, we will have to do it because this is a small topic.
Yes. Okay.
I mean, depends on you. If you do it well, when I go on this, then I go back to the hybrids. Otherwise, I will do another lesson on hybrids. Yeah.
Okay.
Questions? Anna? Georgios? Okay. Good. Do you understand the topic? It's a nice topic, I think, this one.
Yeah, this is very good because I didn't have it. At least I didn't understand it really good.
Yeah, it's a topic that helps two different devices, because it helps you ending something and it helps you with the creation of a good ABA. You saw that when I asked you to do the ABAs, it was quite hard. To do a successful ABA. I think that probably with this information it will be easier. Yeah. Of course, this is not the only thing that you can use on B, but you already have some